But yet, we are farmers in principle. We have full-time jobs, but yet continue this venture in urban farming. We started Kwagala farm in 2010. And when we started this farm, the purpose of starting Kwagala farm was to try to cut expenses in the home. So when we started this farm 10 years ago, 12 years ago, because we started in 2010, we never envisaged hosting the team from PELUM. We never envisaged becoming a training center on urban farming. And so it's been a 12-year journey. And briefly, I'm going to share when did we start and how. We started on March 10th, 2010, just after Women's Day. Back then when we started, we were struggling to make ends meet. I'm sure you see how many doctors strike every day. So the salaries were meager and things were not really working out. So we started Kwagala farm with an income of 1,500 Uganda shillings. Can everyone say 1,500? Please, not US dollars or Canadian dollars or euros. It was 1,500 Uganda shillings. That 1,500, we bought a sacket of tomatoes. A sacket of tomatoes costed us 1,500, and that is how we started this venture. When those tomatoes yielded, because of lack of income, we didn't spray using the synthetic fertilizers. So we mixed omululuza, omwetango, and echigaji, and we started spraying these tomatoes. When the tomatoes grew around June and July, we started selling them slowly to the community and to a number of other people that sold them, that bought them. So we later noticed that these tomatoes could become an income, not only just for eating, but we could also be able to make an income. And everyone that bought our tomatoes would come back and say, do you have green pepper? Do you have spinach? Do you have sukuma? And so slowly, everything that they asked, we started growing in our backyard. Along the way, we noticed that we had run out of space. And so this is when we started growing in sacks, in pots, in tires, on the rooftop, and then the rest became history. In 2012, we were gifted with cows as a wedding gift. My husband's parents gave us one cow, and my parents gave us one cow. And so when those two cows came to this farm, the biggest problem became, who can guess? On a half-acre farm, and you have cows, what do you think is the biggest problem? Space, clothes, what else? I had a, pardon? Feeding, clothes, almost there. That was a problem, but that wasn't the major. Dung, who said dung? Let's clap for him. So our biggest problem was the dung. We would dig a hole of about 4 feet, and in less than 2 hours, it's almost full. So in our backyard, which you're going to see, we got to a point when everywhere you would step, it would go in because it was full of dung. So a colleague of ours from the Vision Group introduced us to Dr. Jole Kabirizi. She's a principal scientist at the National Research Organization. And so with that, we were able to learn how to convert cow dung we were able to... No problem. Does he want to move it up? We can... Excuse me, sir. You want to move it up? We can give you minutes and then you move it up. Please go ahead. Let's clap for PELUM Uganda. So, Mr. Kalule, you're making more possible. Kwagala Farm has a drone on this morning. Can you give them a big hand clap? Yeah, so I stopped at the dung. So that dung was a huge challenge. At that time, we had options of either selling the dung, or if not selling the dung, we had another option of letting go of the cows. But when we visited Dr. Jole Kabirizi, she actually told us that dung can become reusable energy. And so she connected us. My husband had a friend who connected us to engineers, and we set up a biogas plant. And that biogas plant has been a game changer for this enterprise. This enterprise, though seated on a half-acre, converts the dung into biogas, which we use to cook and to light. Am I clear? The residue that comes out of the dung is called bioslurry. We convert it and then we make organic fertilizers. We make what? So the income at Kwagala farm, 80% of our income comes from the cow dung. We're able to sell fertilizers around the country, and these are organic fertilizers. So today you're going to visit a very small farm which is seated on half an acre, yet doing production of fertilizers, selling them across the country, and making an income. Around 2014, we noticed that as Kwagala farm, we were growing. We were doing what? We were earning, but our community was still lagging behind. And so we started a training program. And through this training program, we've been able to empower 3,000 women and youth in urban farming with an agribusiness focus. And through that part of farming, we were able to tap into the World Bank, NARO, AFSI, that worked with us in training these women and youth. And now here we are with PELUM, training young people again on urban farming and showing them the possibilities that are there in smart agriculture. And so our training program has evolved. When we started the training program, we were doing it on our own, but later we got registered with the Ministry of Education under the skilling program, and so we're certified as trainers for youth, for women, and also for men if they are interested. Please join me on this amazing journey, and let's move around the farm. Let's start here. So I'd like to start here. Please, I've kept your porch bags here, the camera guys. So as you can see, this is a backyard of less than 4 feet. Less than what? But as you can see, it has in cauliflower. It has in, what else do you see? It has spinach, what else? Onions, what else? Beans. It also has mince. It also has what? So you can see that in a small backyard, you have vegetables to feed the home. You have spices to spice your food. At the same time, you have things in different spaces. I'd want to draw your attention to a tire. Who knows a tire? Are you seeing a tire? This tire takes about, if you can count the stacks here, it has about 50 stacks of mint, 50 stacks of, and for us as Kwagala farm, we supply fresh vegetables to Carrefour. Carrefour replaced ShopRite, where they are leading supplier of fresh vegetables. Of what? And so this morning we had to run and deliver and just make sure that we're in time for you guys to join us. But you can see that in the tire, we're able to grow mint. Outside when you are coming in, I'm sure you saw tires along the way. Those were still tires of mint. So with just a tire, you can be able to make a garden where you have your mint, either to sell to the neighbors, and then the surplus to be able to use at home. You can also see we've evolved our pots to use them for other things. So urban farming is about being creative with the little space that you have to be able to utilize it well. Let's move to the next part. So we're going to come, please follow me here. The second garden that I want to show all of you is what we call a vertical garden. Can everyone say a vertical garden?
Vertical garden.
Those that are not seeing can stand on the porch for the market. Can everyone say vertical garden?
Vertical garden.
This is a wooden garden. This is a what?
Wooden garden.
This garden takes about 50 to 60 splits of spinach, and then on top you can put something else. The beauty with spinach is that when you're harvesting, you don't pull out the whole stalk. So you simply remove the leaves that are grown, and then the rest you leave them standing. This is another way you can use a small space to be able to grow your spinach so that you can be able to feed your family, and then the surplus you're able to take to the market. Sorry, I hope you're safe. On the extreme side, you can see we tried to do a vertical garden using pipes. But it is still work in progress. We're not yet there. But we're trying to learn how we can do hydroponics using tanks, using pipes. But our hope is that it's something that we can learn from and be able to share with other people. Please, let's move down. Who knows what this is? Who knows what this is? What do you think it was? It was a metallic drum. So I think for us, a big learning in urban farming has been reusing what is... Can I have everyone's attention? What we've learned in urban farming is reusing what others call not useful and then repurposing it to be a garden. And you can see that this metallic drum is able to take between 10 to 8 stacks of sukuma, which still contributes to us as a family. Please, let's move. Okay. I think the best way this picture comes through is when you stand up there. So I just want to introduce you to a small rooftop garden. Please wear your mask. I hope I'm wearing mine well. Okay. Please wear your mask. We're dealing with the Omicron. Ask Daddy. He's seated on the dining. It's okay. You can go. So in some of the things that we're trying, and acknowledging that we're not yet there, is we've been piloting a raised garden on the rooftop. And some of these things we do to not only make an income, but also contribute to the environment. And our thinking is that in the long run, if that rooftop is there, rooftop garden is there, it means that our oxygen circulation at home increases. And we're very intentional around having the spring onions there because of the taste that they have that really pushes for circulation of the oxygen. The second thing is that whatever we do in life, we want to make sure that we're contributing to the bigger plan. And I want to say that as young people, it's not good to just say that my contribution is very small. If each of us did something that contributes to environment daily, small as it is, how many are we? About 40? And maybe the trainers, Mr. Mucha, Mr. Kalule, about 44 people. So if all of us contribute, make a small contribution, times 44, that would be big. And so our hope is that this small rooftop contributes to the improvement of the ozone layer, which ultimately will lead to climate resilience and sustainability. I now want us to move to the chicken. You want to stand here? I'd like to introduce to you Mr. Wahabi. And we're going to really basically take you through a small poultry project. So I first of all want to talk about the space that we're using. This space is parking space for one car. And if you've put them like this, it is parking space for 2 cars. Am I clear? This parking space for roughly 1 to 2 cars is able to be a home for about 260 birds. Up, there are 130 birds, and down, there are 130 birds. Am I clear? How do we feed these birds? We feed these birds in 2 ways. We feed them on the chicken mesh, as you can see, but also we have another type of feed that we give them to cut expenses in feeding the birds. And so I want to introduce to you Manager Wahabi, who will take you through how we feed them on hydroponic maize and how we prepare the maize so that they can be able to eat it. Manager Wahabi, over. I hope all of you understand Luganda, but if you don't, I'll be able to interpret. No problem. Please take both. Take both so that.
Solo ntumuja mu kyalo Masaka. Ye mujo kumulima. Aho tumuteeka ku motoka yafwe. Muloka yafwe bagiyita dawo cabin. Eriyo outside we gate. Atumuja Masaka mu kyalo ntumuleeta wano ku Kwagala farm. Solo we tumutuusa wano tumuteeka mu kasana n'akalamuko. Wamala okukala nga tumujjako ebikuta waya nalabangako kasooli nga ali ku kikuta waliwo ekikuta kibeera munda omujjako wooti tulina emashini yaffe eri mu factory tumujjako nga bamumpa wano nemuteeka mu beseni yange eri awo mami njagalako ku beseni Beseni gye muteekamu yeno era olaba n'omuntu wa kasooli mwewuli yana atali tulaba tumuja kubikuta nga tuteeka mu beseni wetu nga tuyikuwamu amaazi wamayo okubeera mu maazi n'agonda amala okugonda tumuja mu maazi nga tukudde bulungi watukula bulungi nga tumuleeta bitwafusi byaffe bino bitwafusi byaffe bino byolaba bino nga tumuja mu maazi nga tumuteekako tumala okumuteeka muno waliwo obuntu omuvaamu we buno atandise okumera wamera weewo ovaamu ng'atandika okufulumya amakoola wafulumya amakoola nga 2 nze ogwange guba guwedde nina okuwa Mr. Dickson yakola wano mu nkoko naye ali wansi eri atandika okuwa enkoko zaafwe zino naye nina okumufukirira ku makya n'olwaggulu nga mufukirira olaba nga ndi mukumufukirira naamwe mulaba nga nfukirira tufukirira weetutyo wemala okufukirira nga nze ngenda okwebaka Ogwo omulimu guba guwedde ogwange. Watuuka ekiseera gundi enkoko wezituuka okumulya ng'amuwa Mwami Dickson atandika okuziwa nze nkomaawo. Dickson agenda okubongerako olw'okuba ng'aziwaatye kasooli olwo enkoko zino nze nkomaawo.
Okay, so with what he has explained,
Ami waliwo ekibuuzo wano.
tutakuwa tulibuuza at the end in the interest of time. Let's hear from Manager Wakala. So with what he has explained, he's explaining and feeding them on mesh alone, you cannot sustain the enterprise. It becomes very expensive. And so what we do, sorry. Thank you. So what we do, we make sure that we're not feeding them on mesh alone. It's what we do also is to make sure that, sorry. So we make sure that we're not feeding them on mesh alone. So in the morning they'll take the chicken mesh, and then in the afternoon they will take the hydroponic maize. And so we're able to cut our feeding costs by half. I'll give an example. One chicken that is 2 months on a daily is supposed to take about 150 grams. On a what?
A day.
So if it's taking 150 grams, it means 75 in the morning and then 75 in the evening. Am I audible to the people at the back? 75 grams in the morning and then 75 grams in the evening. So what we do, we will feed it the 75 grams in the morning. And then in the evening, we will feed it on hydroponic maize. That hydroponic maize, when it has grown, we'll measure still 75 grams and then feed it. Hydroponic maize or barley is rich in protein. And we know very well that what makes that chicken mesh expensive is because of the mukene. A kilo of mukene on the market goes for 6,000 Uganda shillings. How much? Whereas a kilo of maize now is for 500 shillings. But remember, on our bigger farm, we are growing the maize. We are growing the what? So because we're growing that maize, we keep a sack and make sure that that sack is for purposely the hydroponic maize for the chicken. And so by the time our chicken go to the market, instead of selling them expensively, we'll sell a chicken at 45,000. But that is 45, we've put in less. Our budget is that by the time it gets to selling, we've invested in about 15,000 Uganda shillings, including the labor costs of looking after it. And so we cut our costs, and then we're able to get an income. What we have learned on our 12-year journey is that as a farmer, if you're not keeping your records right, if you're business what I'm saying is that if you're not counting what you're putting in, then it simply means you'll not also understand your profit. So for us, looking at the entire process and costing it enables us to break even on the market. The other thing that we've done on our poultry is we've made sure that the water is automatic, it's piped water. And so there's a small tank up there where we put the water, and it helps us to deal with biosafety, reduce infections, but at the same time reduce the labor costs of someone having to wash the dishes, where they will drink and things like that. So whereas it's sort of like, it's a small project of just 260 birds, but it becomes less labor intensive, and then we get to enjoy what we're able to do. I now want to hand over to our project director. Our project director is called Regan. Like I mentioned, on Kwagala Farm, I give Kwagala Farm about 20 hours a month. But Kwagala Farm runs without me. And so we hired a project director that leads the value chain and supports with running the farm. Is Regan nearby or he's in the crowd? So let's move over and then we'll find him the other side. Yes, please.
Shall be getting sound from you.
No problem. Ah, okay. Thanks. Okay. Give me the other one. So I now want to hand over to. Give me the other. So German is telling you welcome. I want to hand over to Regan. And I think before even I hand over, I just want to share with you a bit of thinking in Kwagala Farm. I give Kwagala Farm 20 hours a week, 20 hours a month. My husband gives Kwagala Farm about 15 hours a month. Kwagala Farm pays us an allowance, pays me and my husband an allowance. Equivalent, is everyone hearing me? Equivalent to my 20 hours I give, and equivalent to his 15 hours that he gives. So whereas yes, he's my husband, Kwagala Farm pays me more because I give Kwagala Farm more time. And so we decided to hire a seasoned professional to support us run Kwagala Farm. And so we hired Regan, who has a master's, he has a degree, he's read his books, he understands the farming process, and he also understands sort of like the bit of the real estate. And so whereas we're running up and down with our full-time jobs, Regan runs the farm. With Regan's leadership, we've been able to move many steps that we would never have moved. One, we pay NSSF for our employees, the National Social Security Fund. The law in Uganda states that the employer will contribute 10% and then the employee contributes 5%. So we pay NSSF for all our staff on the farm. The second thing that we do, we pay as you earn. So we pay the misolo for the government. And putting in place all these systems has enabled us to be, one, transparent, but also work as a small urban farm. And so we're compliant in terms of the processes and the systems of the government. And the last thing I'd like to say is that at the end of the year, we give our staff a 13th month, which is a form of a bonus, so that they also get motivated on this journey. We also have a performance-based incentive on top of the salary that we give them. So the performance-based incentive is if, for example, usually we sell about 300 to 400 bags of fertilizer. But on a lucky day, we get a contract from UNHCR and we sell to them additional 500 bags. Beyond the salary we pay them, we'll give them a performance-based incentive on top of their salaries. And so I want to hand over to our project director, Regan, who's now going to take over and lead you through the last value chain. The cutters, he'll take you through the fertilizer and how we do it. And then after that, we'll sit and be able to pick some of your questions. It is now 8:30, right? Regan will have 30 minutes for that until 9. And then 9 to 9:30, we do questions. And then the team will be heading to another farm. Over to you, Regan. Should we organize that the chairs up or we come down?
We'll come down.
We'll come down. So they bring them down and they sit in a circle. So as they're pinning Regan, our making of the organic fertilizer starts here. That we're going to do organic fertilizer from the cow dung.
Anyway, I don't know this one, but mine. I'll try to put it some where it can.
Please roll. So we can just take that one.
Hello. Hello. How is everyone? Well, my name is Regan,
and I'm coordinating with all our team, and we are going to use like 30 minutes. We are going to go down and see what takes place down there, the cattle, the goats, and then we shall proceed from there, then we come back. Is it fine? Oh, okay. No, we are here. Can you pick when I'm close to someone talking?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, this is. Come.
Some farmers come beside.
Let's be in the middle.
We may die.
I don't know. Is it okay if we be inside, as you guys are this side? Okay. Kale, let us go their side, as you guys are here. Okay. Tugende. No, it's okay. Yeah.
We are going. We are going back.
No, just stay inside first. We are going go their side. I hope this is fine now. Okay. So this project is coordinated by one of our staff who maintains the cleanness, the hygiene, the feeding. As you can see, the place is all clean. So for cattle, what you have to do in case you're keeping cows in a home, in a small urban farm, what you have to make sure is that the hygiene is always on point. You have to make sure that you clean your cow every morning, and then you clean it in the evening. So for us, what we do, we separate the crow. We have two. We have this one, and then the outside that you're going to see. So for this side, we make sure that when they go out, we clean it, and then in the evening they come back. So you might say this is where they do sleep, and then during day they be their side. So Mr. Dixon is going to take you through the practical base on how he runs the day. Then I'll come up and summarize. Mr. Dixon, Kati? Yeah. So Kati, Mr. Dixon, abagenyi baffe baagala obabuulire engeri gye tukitambuzaamu ekintu kino okuva ku makya n'okcleaninga, engeri gye tuziriisaamu, kubanga baagala okumanya in case waliwo ayagala okitandika ayina kukola ki kyalina otandikirako. So takes you. Jako mask yogeremu. It's okay.
Sebo ne banyabo basanyukide kubalabako temusanyufu nnyo. Abino ebintu byolaba ezambi kulira inayo ente ziri 2 n'embuzi 3 naye nga nze mbikulira wakamulaba muno munaye kumacha asawa ngemu nzijayo ente neziteeka eri nenjija nga nongosha muno esawani yazo esiriramu biki bayogasi nga mojamu etwala eri kumutabula kati lweggulo saawa 10 mba nga nsijja eri ebweru nga njingiza munda naye nga sooka kuteekamu ki mmere n'amaazi nga sinywako mpola mpola nga sirya nga kumakya nayo nga nkeera nzijayo muno nga nzifulumisa eri nayo nga nsiwa mmere nga nkola ki ati ebisigadde ebidako waliyo endimiro yange eri eri nayo yenkulirako biki nayo nga ente okuzirya zirya ennyanya green pepper carrots ne sukuma wiki ne gundi ebikuta by'amatooke enziriisa.
So in a bit of those who don't understand the Luganda version, it's just trying to break down how his day goes from morning up to evening. And then to translate his words, he has said in the morning, he first takes the cows outside where they stay during the day. He makes sure that he picks all the cow dung, takes to the biodigester. He cleans where they feed from and where they drink from, and then he takes them their side. So in the evening, around 5, 6, he first puts in food, puts in water, and then allows the cow to move from their side to this side. So we are going to use that walkway to see where they spend their day, and then to see how and what we use the cow dung for. Okay. Gula tezifuluma ate ingira open, enter and close. Close. Do you have funa ekitiyo ne bucket? You can move this side. Just move this side. So we do mix our biogas at 7 sharp when we are taking the cows from that side to this side. So but just to show you a brief example, I think we are going to use this bit of cow dung to mix it in our biogas plant to show you how it runs. But as it's preparing the spade and the bucket, we can be talking a bit. So the problem that we had is that the cow dung was too many. We used to compile it in the other side, and it reached a point where the cow dung was smelling to the neighbors, and then we couldn't dispose it off anywhere. So what we decided is to call this waste management people to come take the cow dung and push it out. But then it wasn't cost efficient. So what we decided to do is to set up the biogas plant where we would recycle the cow dung to give us both fertilizer and then the gas that we use for cooking and then lighting. So Mr. Dixon, so kati kumacha che kitambulira wano, what happens here?
Kumacha. Kumacha nga amaze okuzijja mu nyumba mba nzireeta wano nezibeera wano zirirako wano mpola mpola mmere yazo. Ati lweggulo essaawa nga 10 nga njijjamu ebisa byonna ebiri muno nga mbiteeka mu bakiti nga mbitwala wano mu kinya kino mbitabuira wano gaasi. Kati nga siba wano siba siyingira mu nyumba, kati ku makya nayo nga nsijjayo mba nkola bwetyo nga njijjamu obusa bwayo biki nga mbireeta wano nga mbitabula. Naye nga emmere esirya ebinyaanya biki ebikuta esirya ne karoti n'entula.
So in a bit of what he's saying this is where they spend their day, and then in the evening around 5-6, as I told you about, he comes with the bucket and spade, collects all the cow dung and brings it to this biogas plant. Dixon, so kujeo ku cow dung home to lage the process how it runs. So during the evening time, this is what he does. This is what he does, so that we don't compile our cow dung, and we do this every day because when cow dung spends like 2 to 3 days, it becomes hard. So when we are mixing it in our biogas plant, it's already solid. It doesn't form a solution that we want well. So the first process in making biogas and our organic fertilizer, it is this one. So after collecting our cow dung, we shall come here. Well, let her watering can. Hey, what are you? Pass here.
They are coming there.
No, we are coming there. process goes. But as I told you, if you're trying to keep cattle in a home or any other animal, domestic animal, you have to make sure that the hygiene, the cleanness of the surrounding and the cleanness of the house where your animal is staying is good. So what you see he's doing, he's trying to make sure that after all the process, everything goes inside, because cow dung attracts house flies, as you can see. So if you don't clean your house well, you'll be inviting some insects like house flies.
Do you have certain kind of measurement for water that you overdilute?
No, this bucket takes like 4 of these. Yeah, 2 will go in the mixing, and then 1 will go in the cleaning.
When it's full of cow dung.
It takes 4. That means it takes like 2 jerry cans, because this watering can is 10 liters. Yeah, but then also water is not a problem here, because in our septic there is a lot of cow dung. There is piles and piles of cow dung, because the septic here is very long. It's very long inside and then huge. So even if you would say you put like 5, it wouldn't be a problem as such.
So is there a pipe also leading to the septic?
No, that pipe is for ventilation, aeration. Yeah, it takes out some air. Yeah.
Is it possible to know the different plant sizes? Because they ain't size different plants.
The sorry?
The plant size. Somebody may need to have one home, but it may be like, I don't know the sizes. Can you tell us?
Well, we are going to share the contacts of who helped us to make this plant. Yeah. So down here, this is where the septic is. So down here, it is a very tall, it's a very long septic, and then after constructing it brick per brick inside, they put concrete on top, and then we decided to put soil on top. That's why we don't put anything permanent here, because there is something down there. So in case it blocks, we will have to remove this, open there, and then they will come and empty it in case there are blockages there. So here is from there, this is where the action takes place. This is where the gas is made and pulled out. So this is the residue section, the residue section. Now all this cow dung that you see has no gas. The gas is already fetched out from the septic.
Okay, gas comes from here.
Yeah, gas comes from there, because now this is hot cow dung. You know, when cow dung is hot, it releases that gas. So that gas is the one that we use for lighting, and then it's the one that we use for cooking. So this is cow dung that does not have pressure in it. It doesn't have gas in it. That's why it is already open, but you can't hear that this is cow dung. You can't smell that. Okay, so we cover it because we don't want anyone falling inside, and then we wouldn't want foreign objects entering here, or maybe in case of rain we wouldn't want to mess with the whole setup. Okay, make sure that no one falls there. So remember, there was water that we used in mixing, right? So with that water, You might be wondering, so where does the water go? Because we saw you mixing with water, but we don't know where is that water. Where is that water? So remember, we used two things. We used cow dung and water to mix. We have seen where the cow dung is. Now this is where the water comes from. You see? So this is biocidary. So in case you want maybe to make sure your plants get enough fertilizer, we just put our watering can here and we water directly. So this is not poisonous. This is purely organic, as you have seen. There are no additives that are from the cow dung. There is something that you're mixing. No, purely organic and purely nutritious for crops and your garden. It's not so deep. Now this is not so deep because we use it daily. So you wouldn't want something deep in case our worker falls in. No, it's actually like 5 feet, 4 to 5 feet. It's not so deep. Sorry? So you can apply it directly. You get your watering can and then start watering. It doesn't have an overdose. As you know, organic things don't have overdose for crops.
How long does it take? The dilution. Take it directly, don't
you? Take it direct.
How long does it take to sediment from the other side to this side?
It takes 2 weeks time.
It takes 2 weeks.
Yeah, it takes 2 weeks time. From their side to this side. But now,
But it comes daily to mix.
okay, now this is the process. From our mixing chamber, we raise the cow dung to the septic. The septic helps to pull out the gas. So that gas comes out and we consume it at home. We use it for lighting and cooking. So after that, the remainder, the residue is brought to this side. It comes with both water and cow dung. So the cow dung, remember the cow dung is a little bit heavier than water, so it will compress the water. The water finally will come this side. Is it fine now? So that is how the whole process moves. The other dung there, as you can see there, you can either use a spade or a hoe. Yeah, you just scoop it out. Like 2 feet, you find out that there is some water down. It is
determined by the feeding.
Sorry?
What makes this to be organic? It is determined by the feeding of the animals.
Well, the feeding is also important, but I think it's just the natural cause. Yeah, cows bring out cow dung, which is organic.
Feeding doesn't matter.
So the whole process inside. Yes, please.
Let me help you there. If you feed an animal with a crop or fodder which is sprayed, it means now the dung will not be purely organic, because it may contain some chemical residues. That's how that question looks like, and that's how you answer it. Now I heard you say the flies in your farm they are not good, but I want you to take you to a certain angle so that you get to know those flies are very good. Like if I'm saying the way you use your dung and even the urine, you are leaving some value out. Like now, from the solar there, you can actually scoop it out. Then you get some pots with perforations. Put it there or in a container. Then you turn it upside down. You find that surely will bring in what earthworms. You know earthworms? Those earthworms contain like you think 40% protein, which you can use for feeding your poultry. And by so doing, you could have cut what the cost of feeding.
Dixon, come with a home. Come with a home in Kumbi.
The urine, I'm seeing it, you're allowing it flowing like any water. If you are very serious farmer who's agro-business based, you can use that urine also. You can use for making some pesticides out of it.
Our timing, because we already passed our time.
30 minutes. Oh, okay. Thank you so much, sir, for that compliment. So I'm allowing a bit of few questions for the system and the cattle, because according to our time we are left with like 2 minutes. So I would like to take some more questions, and then in case there is someone who's not conversant with how the process is working, or you want to know anything about the cow, this is the time that we can share. 2 minutes.
How productive is the enterprise, the cattle?
Sorry?
How productive are they?
How productive are the cows? That is one question. We need like one more, and then we proceed up, because time is really not on our side. Yes, please.
You have only told us about fertilizing. What about spray? Does it help in any way for spray?
Spray, okay. So
let me ask you a question. How do you use the other chicken droppings?
Chicken droppings. Yes. Okay then. So I will take only those ones because of the time. Yes, please.
Yes, praise God, sir.
Yes, it's okay.
Thank you. I have many questions, but I'm going to summarize.
Okay.
I'm a farmer, and being a farmer, we've been getting problems or issues with cows concerning sight. And for us, we thought maybe on free range, and he was on zero grazing, but they have issues with sight. I know, being a farmer, have you introduced or come up with a medicine like organically kill
cows,
their eyes? Another thing, I'm not seeing a bull. I don't know which method you are using.
Artificial insemination.
Artificial insemination.
Yes, please.
And another thing, I would like to know how nutritious it is for you to feed on your animals on green pepper, tomatoes, gravels, not on spinach, skuma wheat, not on poach grass. Yes.
Okay then. The first question was how productive is the cow? Well, our cow, when they give birth, we have calves, and then we have milk in the process, whereby we sell some and then home consumption also. And then for the other thing, we use our cow to make our organic fertilizer. That is one. We also use our cow to give us this bioslurry which we use for watering. And then the other thing is the cow, and the other thing is we rear those cows for sale also. So in case we want some bit of millions somewhere, we can sell. Those cows, they haven't given birth, but I think it will take like 10 liters a day. Yeah, 10 liters during the day and then 10 liters in the evening. Yeah, so we would consume like 10 liter, then we sell the other 10 liter. Yes. For pesticide, we don't use this as a pesticide because it's a fertilizer. Yes. And then the next question was do we use this, or what ways do we treat our cows organically? Well,
You have jumped in mine. How do you use the chicken droppings?
Hey, I'm coming to that. Okay, so we don't treat our cows organically, but what we do is we make sure that the hygiene is well. Where they stay is clean, where they feed from is clean, what they feed on is good. So that is how we try to see that, that is how we try to help our cows live or have a better living, by making sure that they eat well and they make sure that the hygiene is well, and then we make sure that we spray pesticides. You know, they have house flies that disturb them, so we spray the whole cloud. We spray the whole cloud so that we make their living easier. And then for the feeding, in case so people were wondering now, carrots and then green peppers and then skuma wichi and then carrots. So as you saw, there is a market, right? And in that market, in case a few things go bad, you know that the fresh vegetables, if they can't spend the whole year. So in case maybe during transition there are tomatoes that are squeezed and customers can't buy them, in case maybe they have prolonged their stay in the market, so we pull them out and give them to our cow. And then the other thing, we also use grass that we cut in the neighborhood. And then the other thing, we buy banana peelings from Wandegea to feed them, because these tomatoes and these other vegetables that we pull out from the market can't satisfy a cow. A cow has 4 stomachs. They are just supplementary, maybe to add in some bit of calcium, some bit of balanced diet somewhere, somehow. Yeah. And then how do we use our chicken droppings? So for chicken droppings, we used it in our machine to crush it, and then it's also an additive in our organic fertilizer that we sell to the market.
You end there.
Yeah.
There's some. Let me add.
Yes.
But again.
Yes.
Wait, and I add him something. Those chicken droppings you are seeing, and the house flies you are seeing there. In organic farming, they are all very good, because one, if you recycle those chicken droppings,
hope everyone is writing,
a type of fly,
because there is some idea here.
Those house flies, they are also good. They like the aroma of that chicken droppings. And together, if you are not a Muslim, you can rear pigs. Then you now go in for maggot culture. So you find that those house flies you see there, they will come.
There is a question and answer session inside for also 30 minutes.
Okay.
We reserve all these questions.
Yes, Carl, thank you so much for coming. We didn't get time to talk about the goats, but they're there, they only feed and then they give birth. That's almost everything. Yes.
There's something that was like a supplement. When those animals are standing on the bare ground, which is hard.
Yeah, it's a punishment, but we need cleanness. We need hygiene mostly. National water.
There is something that I've seen. It's also a disease in Muslim,
Backend. Seti, akapapula ko kawe Madrid. Agenda club agana ne mwami kawe. Regan, please come and coordinate. Mr. Kale, how are we doing in terms of time? We have like 15 minutes. Good. 10 minutes, thank you. So we have 10 minutes. Okay. So maybe I can sit. Okay, I'll sit here. So in these 10 minutes, we will entertain what we call a burning question. And if you're not able to ask, we could also pick your question through Mr. Kale and Mr. Mucha. And as you're thinking about the question, I just want to make 4 major points. The most important thing in life is to start. Is to do what? Because a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So as young people, I just don't want you to look at Kwagala Farm and say, maybe they're at this level. I just want you to reflect and say, what is my takeaway from this? And what does it mean for me? The second point that I'd love to make is that as you start, it's important to stock the brain before you stock the farm. Can everyone stock the brain? Stock the brain. Young people, you're energetic. Stock the brain. Stock the brain. Stock the brain. Before you stock the farm. Okay, now let's say it again. Stock the brain before you stock the farm. Let's say it again. Stock the brain before you stock the... Why am I saying that? Someone will visit Kwagala farm and then they'll visit another farm. And then they just go back and start like that. So whatever you've picked, either growing in sacks in pots or chicken or... Please go ahead and stock the brain. Do further research. Mr. Kale told me PELUM has a knowledge management app. Go to the knowledge management app and get all the information. So I want you to get all the information that you need and then you will start. So the second point has been stock the brain before you stock the farm. The third is do the same thing, but do it differently. Can we say it again? Say it again. Do the same thing, but do it differently. When we started rearing cows, we were rearing them for milk. But now we rear them for organic fertilizer. We're still rearing cows. We're doing the same thing, but we're doing it differently. And then the last point is value addition. Value what? Value. If I was to sell cow dung, no one would buy the cow dung. But I pack my cow dung. Rican, do you want to please someone help me with? Help me with that sack. Thank you, Mr. Kalde. So this is how I'm packing the cow dung. Are you seeing the cow dung? But can anyone believe that this is cow dung? I have added value to it and I have repacked it. So to break through as a farmer, you need to add value. And so I want to ask a volunteer to say those points again in their order. The 4 major magic bullets we've talked about. Can I have a volunteer? Behind me? My neighbor. Yes, please.
The first point was start. The second one, stock the brain before you stock the farm. The third one, do the same thing but do it differently. And the fourth one, value addition.
Great. So we're going to say these things together, okay? So what he says, you repeat after him. The first one.
The first one, start. Start.
Can we have some energy? The first one?
Start.
Great. The second?
Second point, stock the brain before you stock the farm.
Stock the brain before you stock the farm.
The third one, do the same thing but do it differently.
Do the same thing but do it differently.
And the last point, value addition.
Value addition.
Now I see everyone has a notebook. So number 5, I want you to write something that you've picked from Kwagala farm. And our 10 minutes are over, but can we have something? Put number 5 and write your takeaway. What is your takeaway from this visit? And I'm going to pick volunteers who will stand up and tell us their takeaway. So the gentleman in stripes, stand up. Mama in a kitenge, please stand up. With all due respect, Mama, please stand up. The lady in a purplish blouse, please stand up. Mr. Mucha, stand up, and Mr. Kalule. Those are 5 people. Gender balance, spot on. The lady, please stand up, and your neighbor, both of you. Is it balanced or it's lacking? The lady in red, please stand up. So these people are going to share with us their takeaway from this visit. And I'll start from Mr. Kalula and Mr. Mucha, and then we go around.
Well, what I'm taking from this farm is that in whatever space you have, many of us are coming from urban centers, but from whatever space you have, you can really do something out of it. Because I'm seeing the gardens there, with a variety of crops, companion gardening up there. So that's what I'm picking from here.
Let's clap for Mr. Kalule. Mr. Mucha, so use the space that you have.
Thank you very much. In urban farming, we use and reuse what others call a waste. Simply means that there is no waste to waste in urban farming.
Let's clap for Mr. Mucha. Use and reuse what others call waste. Good. Over to you.
For me, I've learned that record keeping is very important for you to realize your profits. So it's important that much as you're doing farming, you should have the aspect of business. So you must keep records really well to realize your profits and before you break even.
Record keeping is vital. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Madam. What I've picked from today, urban farming is possible and it's fun in all ways. From what you started seeing from the gate, you feel like whatever it's put there, it's interesting. You take it out and yet you consume from here. And another thing, urban farming needs, your brain has to keep functioning, has to work each and every time. You have this, how do I do it? You have this, how do I get double profit out of it? So you feel like it needs that activeness.
Urban farming needs activeness. Let's clap for that amazing lady. Over to you, gentlemen.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Albert Kakande. What I've learned is in this urban farming, you have to be ready to invest both money and the time. And most times we make a mistake of thinking we are the owners, we should not pay ourselves. So I've learned I have to have an allowance as the director, as the owner, before I even...
Let's clap for him. Let's clap for him. Pay yourself. Thank you for that learning, gentlemen. Mama at the back. Please, let's listen to Mama. She has learned that in urban farming, even the roof can become urban. Let's clap for Mama, the lady in red. Making more research is critical. Thank you so much. I beg your pardon, I've lost you. Okay. Let's clap for her. So you only need to do, you need soil to do agriculture and not the big tracts of land. And then she added that in hydroponic, you don't even need the soil, you need the water. So on behalf of, I know our time is fast spent, but on behalf of my co-director, who is not here, and on behalf of the Board of Governors for Kwagala Farm and the amazing staff, we want to thank PELUM. Mr. Mucha has been a big advisor and supporter on this journey, and Mr. Kalule, who have chosen Kwagala Farm to host their PELUM students. This is the third time, this is the third time we're hosting PELUM students, and so we really want to thank you for choosing a small urban farm and for coming all the way. We also want to thank you, the students, for being ardent learners and for understanding. And my hope is that your point 5 is something that you will follow and follow through and make a difference in this country. Yes, Ma'am, I see your hand up. So she has asked, what are some of the challenges we faced? Part of the challenges we faced is counterfeits. In terms of seedlings or seeds, there are many counterfeits on the market. And so what we're doing with that is making sure that we have suppliers that are certified. The second challenge we've met is a challenge of time. We all have 24 hours, but on Kwagala Farm, our time runs so quickly, and before you know it, there's so much that we need to do. And so what we're doing is making sure that we count every minute that goes. Like you notice, Mr. Much and Mr. Kale confirmed that the visit will be at 8. We started at 8. It's now 5 minutes to 9:30, and we are closing because 9:30 we have another activity that is going on. The third challenge that we've met has been a challenge in meeting our market demand. When you came in, you noticed a small market at the front. That is a market linkage for all our 3,000 farmers. So if a woman grew anything and she didn't get the market, Kwagala Farm will buy and then resell for her. But sometimes because of season, the produce is not in big quantities to meet the market that we have. The fourth challenge that we've met is in really pushing for the organic. Kwagala Farm is an organic farm, but we work with 3,000 farmers. How sure are we that wherever they are, either in Chiboga or in Luero or in Rubaga, that they are really being organic farmers? And so that becomes a challenge, because if someone ordered like for 10 boxes of tomatoes, we need to do that due diligence that they're organic. But because we are not frugal, sometimes it's difficult. A farmer will tell you, yes, it is organic, and then it's not organic. And then the last challenge that we've faced is a supply chain challenge. That sometimes our orders come in as in now. And someone will say, can we have the tomatoes now and in bulk? But remember, you're dealing with 3,000 farmers. So that now is not possible because of the supply chain challenges that we have. That said, we continue to get feedback from the farmers, from Caravan, and from many of the partners that we work with, to make it an amazing experience to work with. Yes, Mama. Any pesticide? Wow, great question. So far we've done the organic fertilizer and it is certified. A pesticide, I want to acknowledge, is still through the testing process. And a pesticide is using mululuza. Mr. Matovu, do we have the mululuza nearby? So we use mululuza, mwetango, echigaji, and the neem tree. But I want to acknowledge that we're not selling it on the market because we're not yet certified for it. And so for us, managing standards and keeping quality is very critical. And so we don't downplay any of those. So the reason why you're seeing the organic fertilizer, the biosoil boost, is that those have been through the testing process, they've gotten certification, and that's why they're on the market. And so our pesticide is still work in progress, Mama, and fingers crossed that we'll get there one day. Regan, before we end this, do you want to say anything else? Okay. So we just want to thank you for coming. Please follow us on our Facebook account at Kwagala Farm. On our Twitter account, it's still at Kwagala Farm. We're also on LinkedIn, still on the same. And so feel free to reach out to us. So if you need additional information, you can get us on 0700 77 9715. 0700 77 9715. We also have a website, www.kwagalafarm.org. So, Mama, if you have like questions around backyard gardening, our website and our Facebook page has a lot of information that you can benefit from. Thank you again and have a blessed day. So what Mr. Matovu is holding is the mululuza. The mwetango is also, so that is mululuza. And then the chigaji is this one, the aloe vera. So that is mululuza and the other is aloe vera or the chigaji. So she's asking how do we use them? We mix them in a ratio of 10 to 10 to 20. Want to help me, mister? So we will get 10 branches of mululuza, 10 branches of mwetango, and then 10 leaves of echigaji. And then neem tree, so we do a ratio of 10, 10, 10. So 10 this, 10 this, 10 mwetango, and then 20 neem tree. And then we will crush them in a mortar and pestle. You know a mortar and pestle? Echinu, no msekuzo. So once we crush them, thank you, Mr. Matovu, please bring over. Once we crush them, in the interest of time, we're not able to. When we finish, they will look like this. And then we will sieve them. Take one. And then after that, we're going to sieve them. So this is all those concoctions together. After that, we will be able to sieve them. Okay, that's enough. So after sieving this, we will add in, you know ash? We will add in evu. We will also add in garlic. And then after that, we will ferment it over a 12-day period. After fermenting it over a 12-day period, we will then mix this. For every 5 cups of this, we add in 2 spoons of cassava flour, and then we spray on the plants. The cassava flour acts as a sticker that when you spray, not everything runs away. And then the aloe vera, it sort of kills the small pests that might be there. The mululuza is a natural binder. So it will put all these components together and then they will work. The formula I have shared with you is 98% of what our fertilizer looks like. And then the 2% is what is what would differentiate my fertilizer from yours. The bikanja you've seen, we dry them, and then we also get the bikanja from the bioslurry. We dry them in a cool place, a solar dryer, and then we add a few other things, and then we're able to make the fertilizer. For every batch that goes out for sale, we test and make sure that it has nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, and the dry matter. So you can see, to her point around research is at the center of the business. Allow me to say that it's exactly 9:30 and we're running out of time. But it's been an amazing experience to host you. And please don't hesitate. Mr. Mucha and Mr. Kale, please keep coming. Kwagala Farm is open to continue working with PELUM. Thank you very much, and safe travels in your next trip.
Well, I will ask Richard to give some remarks.
Part of our video capture, we would like to do an interview of you, the other side, just like 2-3 minutes.
No problem.
Dr. Diana.
Do you need him? Should I hand this over to him?
I'd love to thank you very much for, first of all, accepting us to come and learn from what you have. I usually like the inspiration and the insights that you give every learner that comes here. We have had a very long journey since 2016, and we have learned from you a lot. And like you have heard from the lessons learned that most of us have already mentioned, I know that we learn from different ways, but some of which is the exposure, experience and experiment. But now what is left is for us to go and practice in order for us to become more prosperous in the agriculture sector. All these people you see are practicing farmers, and I'm sure they are not going to remain the same. You only realize when you see the change that is going to happen in their respective farms. So we are very grateful on behalf of PELUM and the team that we will continue this relationship, and we want to see that we build it and sustain it for the prosperous Uganda and the prosperous farmers. May God bless this farm.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. So please, as you exit, thank you very much, Mr. Mucha. As you're exiting, make sure you have your phone. At the last visit, I think someone dropped their phone in the coaster, and then they kept looking for it. But luckily, they got it when they got to, was it Hoima or somewhere? So I want to request, make sure, check you have your phone, you have your book, you have your bag. Please don't leave anything on Kwagala Farm, unless you're donating, which for now would appreciate, but not. I request that you carry everything with you. Thanks, and over to you on your next step. Omwala omulabi namugambye nti wampadde abiri.